Okay, good morning guys and welcome to another Bloudam and Extreme Fishing episode. Okay, so I'm joined today by Johan and Colin. Colin from Sensation and Johan, shop owner, friend. Let's call it friend. Yeah. Let's say we're friends. And you look very interested in today's episode. Today guys, on the episode, there's some beautiful cop that's been coming out in the area in the garden route. So make sure to come into the store firstly. Extreme Fishing or Extreme Angling Marine.
Yes.
Come into the store, come and get your bait, come and get your tackle, everything that you need. But in today's episode, we're going to be talking info. So yeah, it's not going to be episode for every. It is actually an episode for every angler. It's stuff that every angler should know. It's not going to be a lot of fishing, but it's going to be a lot of info. We're going to be talking about braid. We're going to explain what components is in your rod. We're going to be talking about reels. We've got Colin here from Sensation. You guys that don't know Sensation, the brand, Colin, Kuma, BKK, your Sensation, obviously, Loomis, all of those big brands falls under your Sensation umbrella. So yeah, Colin has got the world of knowledge. Let's call it a world of knowledge. Colin has been on many talk shows. So we've got Colin in the store today, and Colin's going to explain a little bit more. Yeah, I don't know even where to start, Colin. Whenever we have coffee, when we start talking, there's always so much info and the in-depth info that you've got, the knowledge that you've got from reels, rods, braids, lines, everything. Yeah. I mean, we can actually talk for hours once we start talking. Okay. So, where do you want to start today, Colin? What's the biggest mistake that anglers make?
I'm going to start with a normal thing about standing in front of a shelf. If you're buying a rod, or you're buying a reel, or you're buying braid, or you're buying line, whatever, we get stuck on certain things and we don't move or we don't read what's on the packaging, what's on the rod, that sort of thing. And braid is one of the main areas where guys would stand in front of this whole variety of the shop. I mean, there's hundreds of different spools of braid here. And if we start there, I can explain it simply, is you must understand what you're buying and where the braid fits into you as an angler. When it's got a little 8 on the box, I'll use this one. There's a little 8X on the box. A lot of guys know that's 8-strand braid, and a lot of guys will say, yeah, but it's got to be an 8-strand braid. But you've also got to understand that little 8, it's got a rating with it, a PE rating. PEs on the boxes stand for polyethylene. So polyethylene gets weighed, and as it gets weighed, it gets rated. So if it's PE1, that's a light rating. Okay. PE2 will be a heavier rating, PE3 and so forth. So PE1 will give you a breaking point of X, and PE2 will be more than PE1. So your weight of the polyethylene is becoming heavier. That polyethylene turns into a fiber. That fiber in the end has got a lot of strands, excuse me, a lot of strands, and then these strands get wound to make one of these strands. So the carrier becomes a strand.
Okay, so that's breaking it down now into the purest form of braid.
The purest form of what it is. And according to that, you can buy in different levels. You can buy your polyethylene at different stages of its purity, of its weight, or whatever. And that's how you form a strand, and a strand then gets woven. It goes into an 8-strand, or even up to a 13-strand braid now. The advantage to an 8-strand braid over something like a 4-strand braid is there'll be a lot more fiber that you're working with. So your tensile strengths will be stronger, your knots will be stronger, that sort of thing. When you get to 13-strand, obviously that increases, the braid will become rounder and rounder as well.
So what you're basically saying is that in an 8-strand braid, breaking it down, there's 8 strands that's woven together. But those 8 strands also have fibers.
Little carrier fibers.
That's woven firstly.
That's correct.
That's woven into each other, and then they put it into a 8-strand. Okay.
That's correct.
Johan, do you understand that, Johan?
Yes, I do. I do understand.
Did you know that, Johan?
Yes, I do.
You should know that. Being a shop owner and a brilliant salesman, you should actually know all of this.
Yes.
So you must explain it.
Yes.
So that's all we're going to get out of you today. Yes.
A simple thing to take it further. Maybe leave a little note, Johan, on his knee there. If you take a Boss Slick braid, for arguments, this is basically an 8-strand braid, which is fine. But when I'm talking about info and what you see when you pick up the box, it's got a very clear marking on the back of the box it shows Teflon. Okay.
Okay.
So when you've got Teflon on in your braid, when they weave the braid, because it's such a material, if you don't have a coating or a gel or something in there, it actually burns itself off. Okay, so you've got to put a protection in there.
Okay.
To make sure that the fibers don't get affected. Okay, so this is Teflon coated. Is part of the process of making a braid like this. Teflon is the stuff you get in frying pans.
Yeah.
Okay, so now this is a coating that's over your braid, so that gives you a high abrasion quality. It gives you a braid that is slick and smooth through the grinds.
Is that why it
Because
says
it's got-
slick braid?
That's why it's slick braid.
Okay. So this one does not have Teflon in.
That is a color fast braid. That's why it's called shadow, referring to the color, which is black on this one. This is a new braid from Loomis. If you read in the back of the box, once again, it will show it's a color fast material. So when the initial fiber, that polyethylene we spoke about, that thing is white when it starts. With color fast, it's not. It's actually formed as a color, so it doesn't fade.
Okay.
All right, and this is what that makes that sort of thing special. Perma black with Boss, the same thing. It's also a color fast material.
But you said now this one's got the Teflon.
This one's got the Teflon.
That's one, and this one
That doesn't have a Teflon.
doesn't have. And I mean, when I go and stand, it's the first time ever I'm hearing of Teflon in the braid. So when I go and stand in front of a shelf, all that I see is, if I look at the two braids, I see $2.99 and I see $4.89. I see 8-strand PE braid and I see 8-strand PE braid. So why is the one almost 200 Rand more expensive? Why?
It's simple. That's
It's
what I just
because
said.
there's Teflon in it. Okay, so just that's the kind of talk we're going to have today. Why is certain braids more expensive than other braids?
100%.
Both of them 8-strand. Both of them will do the job,
100%.
but there's a big difference
Yeah.
in the two because you've got the Teflon one, and it's something I already didn't know, and we're like 5 minutes into the show.
So if you're going over the rocks and you like fishing the bricks, and your fishing is going to be tough and hard, I would definitely go Teflon.
Yes.
Okay. But if I'm fishing the estuary and I'm throwing lures or I'm trying to do a lightweight something for a grunter or whatever, this is not necessary. You can always use this. You're going to have the same thing. Okay, it's still 8-strand braid. You've just lost the coating basically.
Okay.
Okay, so in application, it is very important. So if I walk into the shop and I speak to Johan, I said, give me some advice on, the first thing he's going to ask you is, where are you going fishing? I mean, no, I'm going to be on the beach or I'm going to be on the rocks or whatever. He's going to refer you to something like this.
And the stuff, they know this, but I don't think the viewers and the anglers actually know what is inside the braid, what's inside their reels, what's inside their rods.
Yes.
They go on what somebody told them or what the salesman in the shop tell them.
Yeah.
So that's the idea of this episode. So you can actually make an informed decision yourself. And you can go and tell them, I want this because there's Teflon in this braid and I'm going to fish on the rocks.
That's
I want
exactly.
the Teflon in the braid. I don't want that reel because it said, we're going to get to that. It says it's got a waterproof rating,
Yes.
but it's actually just on a handle or it's not
just
on the whole
body,
reel.
the back or whatever.
Yeah, so that's what we're trying to get over in this episode. So keep watching because I think it's going to be a really interesting episode. We just scratched the surface on braid. Colin, what's up next?
We're talking about braid now, but if I'm standing in front of the rod, the new Nemesis is imminent.
Oh, I can't wait for it.
Now, the Nemesis has got some special things to it as well. And one of it, if you turn the rod around, it will show Toray carbon on it. Okay, and Toray, for argument's sake, will obviously be like the Teflon. It's the next level of carbon. It's Toray as a company is massive. Okay, and they do a lot of things, but the fishing rods is now part of it, what they're doing. So you're getting a crisper, more refined carbon when you pick up something like the Nemesis. But you're going to see that when you start looking at the rod and seeing the descriptions on the rod as well. The information is basically in front of us.
Yeah.
We just need to understand it.
Guys, if we're talking about the Nemesis, it's the new rod from Akuma.
That's our new launch.
That's coming out. When is it hitting the shelves?
Well, it's started hitting the shelves today.
Okay.
And it will roll out through the rest of the week.
Okay. So, yeah, guys, if you want to come and have a look, probably in a day or two, the one will be stocked with a new Akuma Nemesis. For the guys that love the Akuma, where's this one gonna fit in?
So we've got a range of Rockaway, sort of a mid-range rod, and then you got Euphoria, which is one up on that, and this will be just above the Euphoria. in price range as well.
Is it slotting in where the Mariana was?
Just below where the
Just below
is.
the Mariana.
And the difference is, for an example, the Mariana would have a SIC guide on it, which is a silicone infused guide from Fuji, which is basically one of their top guides. This one goes down one to an alkanite guide.
This is also something that you can actually talk for 3 hours on, these guides.
Let me start with guides. If you understand the costing of guides, you understand what a O-ring costs in Fuji, or what a Fazlight guide costs in Fuji. You can explain the rod's pricing just according to that.
Because that's also something that a lot of guys look at when you're buying a rod. Is yes, it's got Fuji guides.
It's important to use,
but there's a big range in Fuji guides. So guys, don't just look at a rod, because a lot of guys will come and say, geez, but this rod is expensive.
Yes,
but look at what you are getting in guides, in winches, in what is the carbon that's actually in there, the technology that's been built in there. So that is why there's a big price difference from, like you said, now the Rockaway all the way up to the new Nemesis. It's better guides, it's better quality,
it's better carbon.
Better carbon. Okay, sorry, I interrupted you there on the.
So with the Nemesis as well, like you see with Okuma doing with their rods now, there's a carbon wrap over the rods as well. So that's a nice little thing which they've started doing the last couple of years. It's for that, putting it in a rod rack or on the back of the bucket or wherever it's going to be. That protects that blank, protects that carbon on the inside. So you'll see this on the Nemesis as well. The Nemesis has got a very crisp feel to it. So when you cast a Euphoria, you'll get, it's almost an easy cast. The Nemesis has got that totally crisp feel when you cast it. So there's a nice, you're generating a lot of nice smooth energy.
Rod length is going to come in?
From 12 to 15,
okay,
and all the different weights.
And all you've got lights, all the way for the anglers that wants to go shark fishing, everything is going to go your 6 to 8, everything. Okay.
But read the blank. Even if you're standing in front of a Euphoria, read what's going on there. See that the equipment is on there.
The problem is, Colin, that yes, being to the trade show and speaking to a lot of different anglers, and Johan has also got a world of knowledge because he's been in the trade. Actually, today,
17 years.
17 years in the trade today. That has been 17 years ago. Johan, yesterday, 17 years ago, he wrote his last exam, and then straight from there, he went into the old extreme fishing, and since he's taken over the shop. But yeah, congratulations, Johan, on being 17 years in the industry. So after 17 years, you actually know what you're talking about when somebody asks you. Maybe.
Guys, and that's
the thing about Johan is when you talk to him, it's a passion for him about rod building. It's a big passion for him. So he actually knows a lot more than your average guy about rods, because he sees where the breaks come, and he builds beautiful rods, guys. He doesn't like to advertise it, but some of his artwork, his marble effects on some of the rods that he does is really, really, it's like an artist, some of the rods that he builds. But getting back to that, guys, is a lot of you read that, you see the info, but you don't know what that actually means.
100%.
So most of the guys that come into your shop, they read, this is a 14 foot, 4 to 6 ounce, and it's got Fuji guides, and that's enough for them. You look at a line weight, a casting weight, and that's enough for them. But you actually don't understand what goes on in that rod.
You ask yourself simple questions. Does it have a carbon wrap on it? Yes, it does. This will help the rod. You know, is it a Fazlight? Is it an alkanite guide? It's an alkanite guide. Gee, that pushes the rod into a different level. You see, so those little things are important. It's the same thing with braid. When you're going to be specific about how you buy braid and what you want to do with it, if you can be very specific on it. We spoke a little bit about Fuji. I try to find some information about Fuji as a whole. So you see all these demo videos or whatever, but as a company, they share very little information. Okay, because the way they build their guides, I can understand why they're so expensive. I mean, they talk about a thing called micro bending, which is little movements instead of welding. How they get that guide formed. Okay, which is quite impressive, I must be honest. I saw a little clip of it. I tried to find it afterwards again. It was gone. But that little micro bending technique they've got, the way they insert the Fazlight or the alkanite into the guide, and the shape of it, how they get it shaped like it. So I can understand why Fuji's expensive. It's a quality product, and I think it needs to be on our product.
Is there any competitors for Fuji at the moment in that quality that they have?
Look, there will always be what's it called, sea guys and that sort of thing. But I don't think you're ever going to get to that point.
Okay.
They're so refined that it's very difficult to do.
Everybody's trying to play catch up where they are still going forward and forward.
The whole time. I can almost say this about Akuma as well. They've changed a lot of the way that we see Akuma and the way they're developing the brand and the company and so on. There's a lot of good things coming, and I'm very excited for the future because you hear rumors down the passages, but there's some good things coming.
But Colin, getting a little bit off topic like we normally do on the show, it's not just Akuma. I think it's the whole sensation. If you look at the Loomis products that's coming through, I mean, we had the Titan.
Yes.
Oh my word, those things flew off the shelf. Yeah. Quality reel, affordable price. Yeah. So there's a whole shift in those in a couple of brands that you can really see going forward in technology and in expanding their range.
Very much.
And what I like about that is they're also cutting. They're not just expanding. They're taking some of the stuff out of the market as well. So if something, it's something that is working, but now we've made it better.
Yes.
And that, like we spoke about the rods now, you don't have 20 different rods. There's how many Akuma rods are there? Rods.
Akuma surf rods, we're speaking about the Rockaway, the Euphoria, and the Nemesis today. Yeah. And that would sort of cover it.
That's you've got everything you need in that range. You've got your budget version for a guy that's beginning, your entry level. Then you've got the Euphoria, and then you've got your Nemesis now. And you don't need to stand in front of a shelf and there's 15 different choices. There's already so many brands. It's confusing people. So that's something that I really like about Akuma and Sensation. That
it's a moving company.
They're always producing new products. And when we speak to you, when you are here, always excited about, you must check this new one we're bringing. I mean, you've been speaking about the Nemesis for a while now.
I just wanted to say that you mentioned the Titan reel. I'm going to say the exact same thing as check the new one coming.
Like I said, always when we see Colin, there's always something. You must check the new one that's coming.
There's a Golf coming, which is going to be impressive.
This is, it's going to be a Loomis.
On the Loomis, but there's some tweaks made to it. And
okay.
I don't want to say too much about it, but it's coming.
Okay.
Very nice.
Very nice little reel.
Okay.
It's going to do its thing. But let's get back to packaging.
Yeah.
So we spoke about 8. And you look at Forge and it says 12 plus 1, that's 13 strands. So one of these polyethylene strands in here is thicker than the others. With the eye you can't see this. Okay, but it almost becomes the body of this braid.
So it's just woven in between the others?
In between others, so the 12, the plus 1 is to make it as simple as possible, is to say that one of those strands has a higher quality PE polyethylene strand in it. It allows this braid to form better. Okay, so your abrasion quality goes through the roof when you do that sort of thing. So if you see the Fury braid from Loomis, it's got that one little white strand on the box. It's the same sort of concept. So they've taken 8 plus 1, made it 9. It gives that braid a different fiber inside.
So in your opinion, $5.99 versus $4.89. You would always go for the $5.99, 12 plus 1? Or is it, what are you going to use it for?
Nothing, what you're going to use it for is the first question I want to know. Okay, if I'm going estuary fishing, I wouldn't be using this.
You would go for simple 8 strand. Okay.
But if I'm going to the rocks or whatever, and I know it's going to be maybe some
crackers
some crackers or whatever, I'll definitely go to a 13 or a perma black or something like that. That's definitely something I'll do.
Okay.
But it's the same with monofilament. It works the same way. So when you buy a monofilament or a copolymer, you actually buy them in weight. Okay, and the weight gets determined by how much air is inside. Now you'll never see this with the naked eye. But this is how our nylons get, how you determine what a nylon is. So if it weighs X amount, I'm not going to get into that detail because it becomes very technical. Then it's let's say a quality 1. If it weighs more and there's less air in the nylon, it becomes a quality 2. This is before it gets put into made fishing line, where they extrude it. That's before they extrude the line. They weigh it. You buy them in weights.
And the weight is determined by how much air.
The less air pockets that is in a line,
Obviously, it's going to be heavier.
it's going to be heavier. It's a better line.
Okay.
Simple as that. It's the same with this. The fluorocarbon I've got here. Fluorocarbon is a very interesting line, if you can put it that way, because there's so much that goes into fluorocarbon. So fluorocarbon's got a product inside called fluorine. So fluorine helps seal a nylon. Okay. It also gives it weight. So you've got less stretch. On nylon, you're averaging between sort of 10 to 16% of stretch. So if you take 10% on 100 meters, you've got 10 meters of movement of your line.
That's a lot.
Before your hook moves.
That's a lot.
Okay. So that's why it's easy to pick up a fish when he's running with you, because he's taken the stretch out of it.
Okay.
But if you're striking the hook from a dead stand, that hook's going to move a long way.
You're just going to actually stretch the line.
You're stretching the line.
You're not actually setting the hook.
And then a lot of guys will say to me, yeah, but these hooks don't work. I set the hook and the fish came off. And the first thing I ask him, what line are you using? He says, no, I've got my old multiplier with 30-pound nylon on there. That hook didn't even move. That fish didn't even know.
You're just taking stretch out of the line.
That's it. That's why braid has become so popular. Firstly, it costs obviously much better. It's easier to handle, but you've got that stretch because braid only stretches about 0.25 of a percentage.
And that's that's also a big question for beginners. What we're talking about is experienced anglers at the moment.
Correct.
That wants to know the difference.
Yes.
But on Bloudam, we've gotten used to trying to cover for everybody. So this a lot of the talk today is for experienced anglers that wants to know the difference between braids. Let's take it back a step to somebody that's walking into the shop for the first time. He wants to start fishing now.
Yes.
And the big question that we get a lot, he wants to buy a reel now, and he goes, now you need line. You need to put something on your reel. Braid or nylon?
Okay, so this is an age-old question.
Yes, that's why I'm asking you the question.
If you've got a small reel, you can put nylon on there. You can put a copolymer, but I wouldn't go past 10 pounds.
Okay.
Because that spool doesn't want more than 10 pounds. Okay. Because it's going to come off and it's going to loop and it's going to look funny and then it's going to be pulled back and in. So you're going to have this problem. But if you don't want to go spend the money on an 8-strand or a 13-strand braid because you're only going out for the day, you and your son or whatever, there's options there. There's 4-strand braid.
Yeah.
Or there's a 3-strand braid.
It actually is just going to be 100 to 200 rand more than nylon.
Even some of it's even cheaper than nylon.
So, and like he explained now, 2.5% stretch over 100 meters, that's going to give you roughly 2.5 meters.
It's 0.25.
0.25,
Yeah,
sorry.
0.25. So
there's basically nothing.
There's nothing, there's no stretch.
You can feel that bite. You can feel the little peckers. So the first advantage for me, fishing braid versus nylon, is you actually, if you're standing with your rod in your hand, you can actually feel there's no more bites, there's no more bite.
Now connect that system of yours with a braid. Now you've got your leader on, which is maybe 1 meter or 2 meters or whatever. And you're putting it through Fuji guides, down a Torre blank, into a quality reel. You want to tell me you're not going to be more in contact?
Oh, definitely. Oh, no, definitely.
That's how this whole package gets compiled.
Definitely. So switch it around, go with normal nylon, over 100 meters. You're not going to feel that peckers. You're not going to feel the bite firstly. Eventually, when you do get a bite, you must remember that there's 10 meters of stretch, 10 to 15 meters of stretch.
Yeah.
And it doesn't sound a lot, but 10 meters, take 10 meters. It's a long way. It's a long way.
It's a long way.
And with the braid, casting 100 meters nowadays it's not a far cast. It's not a difficult cast to do 100 meter cast. If you're wading in a little bit, even if you're a beginner, if you wade in a little bit and you get a 70 meter cast, walk back 30 meters, put it in a sand pen, that's 100 meters easily. Yeah. So now, this is a topic that you can also speak for another hour, circle hook versus J hook, but now you've got your hook on your end, and that fish must first take that stretch 10 to 15 meters out of that line before you can set that hook. So for beginners, I would definitely 100% recommend going with braid.
Start with the braid. The one little thing that I would add to that is if you're buying braid, have a look at your first guide on your rods. You'll see a lot of the rods have got a tag on there that says anti-tangle. If it's your first experience with braid, use an anti-tangle guide. Okay, makes the wind knots less. It's easier to cast and it's much smoother to handle. Okay, so that's quite an important thing. So when you use or when you decide to go to braid, also know that if you're going to be doing estuary fishing where you're going to be targeting a grunter, that braid's very visible in the water. So you're going to have to stick on some sort of leader to make that go away. So getting back to the fluoro. So the old thing was fluoro disappears underwater. It actually doesn't reflect light. That's what it does. So where the sunlight hits something like a nylon, like that, it will actually glint in the water, where this doesn't. Okay. And the purer the fluorocarbon, the less it does it. The purer the fluorocarbon, also the heavier it gets. So this is a specific water gravity, of 1.25. Okay. So this is 1.75.
Okay.
So this floats in the water basically. Braid's even worse. If this floats in the water basically, it takes a slow down, nice bend into the water. Now I'm presenting a little prawn to a grunt. But I've got this piece of line in the water. That's why I'd rather go with a fluorocarbon, maybe a meter and a half, whatever, fluorocarbon on there. This is not going to be presenting itself in the water. It's going to want to sink.
Okay.
Water's gravity, specific gravity, is 1. Okay. So if you take 1.25, it's a little bit below. Okay. 1.75 is a lot.
Okay.
Okay, so present your bait in that way. The grunter swimming up there is not going to see this line. He's not going to look for it because it's actually on the bottom.
Okay, now I'm going to ask a question because this is one of the lines that I use the most, actually all the time, is your maximum alter green.
That's not.
Where does that come in? Because that's
a pure monofiller.
But that's a line that works beautiful for me when I'm fishing for grunter. So compared to...
Okay, the way you're fishing your grunters, are they weightless? Are they weighted? That sort of thing. If it's weighted, the monofilament plays less of a role.
Okay.
But if it's a weightless prawn and you're throwing a very light line, okay, that will definitely affect where the line sits in the water. It goes down.
Most of the times, on a kayak, I'll be drifting, and off the boat, I love fishing weightless. Depending on your current, I might pull a small little ball sinker on it. But for me, grunter fishing, lighter, the lighter, the better. Yeah. So I don't like fishing. Sometimes I'll fish with a big swivel, just a big swivel on there, just to get it down a little bit. If the current is too strong, I'll put on a little weight just to get it down.
To explain this in a different way, as a bass fisherman, when you're throwing a topwater, I'm talking tournament guys that are really focused on this sort of thing. If you're throwing a topwater bait, you'll never hook up fluorocarbon onto your reel. Okay. Because the fluorocarbon wants to go down. So your first movement of that bait will actually be down. Okay, it pushes its head down.
Okay.
When I've got monofilament or copolymer on them, the line is sitting up in the water. So the first movement will be to the side. So if you're throwing a surface bait for a grunter, look at the first movement. Is the head going down on that walking bait, or is it actually coming to the side?
Okay.
Because if it comes to the side, the bait's sitting in the water.
Yes.
But if I've got fluoro on them because I have to have it. But then first movement that dips its head because it's pulling the line first. That's a nice way to see it.
Okay.
What you're busy with.
Okay, I understand what you're saying.
Just to get back to, if I can interrupt. Just to get back to reading. What is on the labels and what's on the tags. This is one of our rods, LRF rod, which has become quite popular. So the one difference you'll see here, it's got a little yellow tip, and everybody says, yeah, but you can see this thing at night. It's actually not what it's about.
A jelly tip.
A jelly tip. It's actually something else. So on the tag of the rod, just to give you an example, it says UFR, sorry. Okay, that's an ultimate flex reinforcement. So this is something that Akuma does. This is becoming now a very flexible, soft. I know you use them for your fishing.
I love them.
Yeah. So this is a totally different way of building a normal blank that you would do like this. Okay. So this gives you that ultimate flex point when it gets under the boat or under the kayak, or you're standing on the bank and it's coming real close. That gives you a bit of sensitivity. It makes a difference. But the point you're trying to make,
huge difference.
It's actually on the tag. So when you're reading the box,
and there's a nice description on the tag of that. And I fish with these rods a lot, and I've never actually read that. I have not.
You see,
that's what I'm saying.
That's why we're sitting there.
You almost think that it's a bunch of mumbo jumbo.
It's advertising.
It's advertising.
It's actually
It's not.
Yeah, it's a lot of information.
Open the little tag and read what is on the rod.
Look at the box, read the thing, see the packaging. And if you're not sure, go and search, go and look online, find something. If you're that kind of guy that wants info. Okay, I love info. Okay. It's something that tickled me, is something like IPH water ratings. It irritated me for months now, because the one says it's a 6, the one is a 7. And to explain a 7 is you can put your reel underwater for 30 minutes, okay, at a meter, and I can't take water into it. That's a 7. So a 6 is lower and 8 would be higher than that. So like the Soros, on the box you'll see it's got an IPX 7 water rating. But then I found something, which there was other water ratings that I saw from guys that tickled me, because it says an IPX 7 or IPX water rating, but it's only for that part of the reel. With the Tesoro, which I saw, is you got your drag sealed as well. So it's both sides of this thing is IPX 7 water rating. It's been doing very well for us, but I can understand why now. And I actually only found that out a couple of weeks ago. Looking and researching and finding, forget about the diamond coating on the one-piece bail, that sort of thing. They got bearings around the pinion gear and all sorts of fancy brass gearings and whatever. But understanding what I'm looking at when it says IPX 7, can I ask that question? Is it the spool and the body? Is it just the body? Maybe it's just the handle insert? I don't know. That's why I'm a sucker for information, because I like knowing these things.
And it's also a little bit of false marketing, if you can call it that.
I don't know about false marketing. I mean, it's everybody's right to advertise their product in that way. But
but you can't put a IPX 6 or 7 rating if it's for the handle, and that's what some of the companies do.
I don't think let's go down there. I think let's go to the point where we're trying to find out information for ourselves. If I spend money on something, I want to know what it's about.
Oh, definitely.
Okay, when you're buying a new car or you're buying a new bucket or whatever, I want to know what's in there. And a lot of guys will read up about it, about the kilowatts and the newton meters, and do the whole thing.
Fuel consumption and
everything.
Everything.
Why are we not doing this with reels and rods? Finding out a bit more.
I think it's the situation where it's a lot of money versus. So
very much so.
So I'm not so. But if you go into your garage and you start counting, and we start adding up reels, rods, hooks, sinkers, your cast net. If you start counting the amount of money
for sure
that you spend on fishing, you're going to actually find you spend more than what you paid for your car. For some guys, I think buying a car is that big sum of money. So you see that big sum, but you don't see all the littles, because you come into a tackle shop and you spend $400-500, and you come next time you come in and
that's definitely me.
And you do big buys now and then. You do buy a new rod or new reel and you add something, but you don't see the total amount that you are actually spending on. So make sure that when you're buying something, that you actually buy quality, because otherwise you're going to go 1-2 seasons.
You can also buy to the best of your ability.
Yeah, that's also true.
So let's say your wallet allows X amount. Go read a bit about how far can go with X amount. If you don't have a wallet with a limit on it,
then it becomes a little bit easier.
Then it becomes easier, because you can test and throw away and repair and that sort of thing. But if you don't have that situation, find out as much information as you can.
But if you do your research, there's so many good quality products in the market at the moment.
Even outside of our company, I mean, there's a lot of things coming into the market. It's very good stuff.
Very good quality. Compared to what we had a couple of years back. There's the quality of your entry-level stuff has really picked up.
It's definitely picked up. We just look at the quality of an inexpensive braid is a very good example of it. A couple of years ago, you couldn't get that.
You had to buy, what was that? Wish. Of all our first braid we bought all our first braid of Wish.
Those sort of things didn't exist. Now it's becoming more and more and more, because the market's also getting more and more competitive. And there's more and more guys making braid and putting up plants and that sort of thing. So it all influences the whole thing that you're busy with. But the quality is good. Okay, so I think if you've got a chance and you've got a moment walking into a shop, and it doesn't matter what you pick up, pick it up, read the packaging, go and look. Feel the rod for yourself, test the braid. If you want something that goes quick through your braids, make sure you buy a slick, that sort of thing. Get yourself comfortable when you do your purchase. Once you've had them, it's easy to replace them.
Even when you come in, because both the shops has got the real winders, so they do bulk braid. So you're not necessarily going to buy a small packet, but make sure when you buy bulk that you know what braid you actually are putting on. Man.
Yes.
Ask for something specific.
Ask for something specific that you want to know.
It's not
what's
a problem,
inside that braid.
If it's not on the bulk, we put any braid on there.
No. I know you take the small reels and you put it on.
Unfortunately, like all your new braids, your shadows, your summits, your forge, even if you go to the Assassin and the Shimano side, there's so many braids that they can't go and put. It's actually more expensive for a bulk spool, almost, than it is.
It's getting to that point.
Yeah, because the company that makes the braid, they've got the machine set to do 300 to 75 meters.
Okay.
Now they must set up almost completely different side for the 3000 meters. And it came to a point where even with our grinder that's big in the shop, we struggle to get it. Because it's almost like a side job for them.
Just to latch onto that, 10 years ago, I was watching a video of them explaining how braid works and that sort of thing. And it takes a machine, one machine, I mean full tilt, okay? It takes it 10 days to make 3,000 yards.
Yes, that's not a lot in 10 days.
I'm not switching it off.
No.
10 days.
Straight 24 hours running.
It's better now.
Okay.
It's faster now.
Yeah.
But it's not. It still hasn't solved the problem.
No.
So it takes an enormous amount of time to actually get this perfect. So that's why the bigger spools they could be a bit of a more of a pricey item.
Yeah.
Because it actually takes a long time to pull them up.
But make sure that you know what braid you're putting on, so it's the right braid for what you want to do.
Yeah.
And then before buying a reel or a rod, make sure that you actually read what Fuji Guide's got on. What carbon is inside rod? Does it have a coating on? Make an educated decision when buying stuff, because it might cost you 100 or 200 rand more, but it might save you
It saves you
a lot of money in the long run.
Instead of replacing my line every 3 months, I've actually got a year's worth of lines. I've already saved it.
Yeah. So, thank you so much, Colin, for joining us today.
Thank you, James, for having me.
Guys, if you want to book a Bloudam adventure, here's my number in the screen. Dates are almost full. Come into the stores, guys, over December. Come and say hi to Johan. You might be running between the two shops. We've got Kevin in Extreme Angling Marine, and we've got Kobe, the other shop in Extreme Fishing. Come into the shop. They know all the stuff that we were talking about now. They know all of the stuff, and they will guide you. And ask the questions. Ask these questions that we're speaking about now. What is the carbon in this? What is the Fuji Guides? What type of Fuji Guides? Why is this rod more expensive than that rod? Okay, then you can make an informed decision. They all know this stuff. Of course, they go to the trade shows and you educate them on the new rods and what's going on. Come and check out the new Nemesis whenever you are in the George area. Johan,
Yes.
this is a question that we get a lot, because we've got viewers from all over South Africa. If they are not in George, how can they get in contact? How can they still buy from the store?
They can WhatsApp us.
Can WhatsApp?
Yeah.
Okay.
They can phone our landline number, and or me or Kobe will give them our cell phone numbers to WhatsApp us.
And then invoice, payment, and courier.
Yeah, we will send you an invoice on the WhatsApp. If you receive payment in our bank, we will send that package out. Yeah.
Because we've got a lot of guys that want to support, because we're doing all the shows in the shops and we're talking about all these fishing rods. And the guys that can't get here now, they're also itching to fish.
Yes.
So buying something almost scratches a little bit of that itch.
Yeah.
And they're all getting bonuses now. So I'm going to put Kobe's number. Whose number must I put on the show?
Yeah, you can put both the numbers.
Okay. Here's Kobe's number.
Tell you the truth.
And here's Johan's number.
On that, it's best to phone and listen to what you want. If you WhatsApp, you must be prepared to only get a message later. For me, and I must say it on the shows, a client in front of me is more important than a client on myself.
Obviously.
And it's nothing rude, but if I walk into a shop, let's say for instance, I like tackle. I've I've got 2 tackle shops. But my best next thing is power tools. I love power tools. But if I walk into a place that sells power tools and I walk to that salesman and he's standing on his phone with his head like this to me, I immediately, or I walk away. Even it doesn't matter what the thing costs. I don't go to the shop with the best price always. But if I walk to a guy and I ask him a question and he answers me with a stupid smirk back because he's actually more interested on his phone, I'll walk away. I'll even go as far as go to the shop that is more expensive because they give service.
Yeah.
So if you want to have an immediate answer on what you're looking for, rather give us a call. And if you are willing to wait, send that WhatsApp after 5 or maybe the next morning 8 o'clock because we are running around late at night.
Okay, guys, thank you so much for watching. Catch you guys in the next episode. Cheers.
Bye.